In the United States, the average school consumes on the order of thousands of pounds of paper, 40,000 pounds of food waste, and uses 200 kilowatt hours per meter squared of electricity annually. This sounds like a lot, and it is, but there's a silver lining. Tons of room for improvement. 1 in 6 people in the United States go to or work at a K-12 school. That's around 60 million people. And that number gets even larger if you include trade schools, colleges, universities, or other continuing education programs. Chances are you or someone you know attends a school of some kind, which means changing those numbers is possible. And if you decide to take this on, know you're not alone. There are dozens of organizations across the country working to improve sustainability in schools. If you're in a school, or you know someone in a school, or you vote in a district with a school, this is a space that you can make a difference. Now, there are a lot of people with a lot more experience in this field than I have, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to build your school sustainability plan, but I am going to tell you some stories. I want to share why it was important to me and some people I know to learn about environment and sustainability when we were young and in school. When I was a sophomore in high school, one of my teachers assigned us an essay. The prompt was write about something that you do, but argue why you shouldn't. I chose eating meat because I just read The Omnivore's Dilemma, that was the year Super Size Me came out, and a bunch of my friends had started taking the one environmental science class that my high school offered. I ended up accidentally arguing myself into being a vegetarian. The next year I took that one environmental science class, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was pretty formative in shaping the trajectory of my life. I ended up studying environmental science in college, I filmed a bunch of Keystone and divestment protests, and then I ended up getting a job making videos about the environment, started this YouTube channel, and now I'm in grad school studying climate science. I know not everyone who takes an environmental science class or goes outside or installs a solar panel or joins a sustainability club is going to become singularly obsessed with climate change. But there are some real world effects that happen when you bring the environment into the classroom. Or better yet, bring the classroom into the environment. So I called up my high school teacher, the one that teaches that one environmental science class.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Miss Rao.
I think making kids fall in love with the outdoors definitely makes a difference. We were just in Acadia this past weekend, and this young woman who had never been camping, and she camped for 2 nights, and she loved it. She had a blast. But that sparked something in kids of like, I want to keep doing this. And like, I'll never forget a kid sitting there in seaweed and looking at me and going, this is what I want to do with my life. And I'm thinking, what, sit in mud? But they're really into it. They're really seeing the science. There's so much to be said for that versus here, this is what the book says. A student wanted to, start making their school more sustainable. Well, that's where I might talk to my parents and say, okay, well, what organizations are around here? Who could we contact? Who might want to help us? I do see the hope. I see the hope with my students. They want to make these changes, and I do think they're going to do something about it.
And as she says, you definitely do not have to be a teacher or a parent to make this kind of impact. Introducing my wonderful sister, Karen.
I was taking a science class in 7th grade, and I had this really magnificent teacher named Miss Ripa, and me and my friend Molly looked at what we were learning about and the sustainability that we were learning about just in middle school, and we were like, our school doesn't do this. And we went around and we're like, okay, so we collect bottles, but where do these bottles go? And we learned all the bottles get collected and then they just get thrown in the trash. And that all of the paper that people may or may not be putting in the recycling bins just get thrown in the trash. And we went around the school, and every Thursday we went and we collected all of the paper, and we worked with a local recycling plant to come and collect it every week. And I'm very happy to say that this program has continued on since the time that I left middle school. I would recommend or suggesting first looking at what does your school already do? For in the case of my schools, that people were putting things in the recycle bins already, but then they weren't going someplace. They weren't actually being recycled. They were just being put in the trash. And so that was the problem that we had to solve. Figure out what exactly the problem is or how much your school does or does not do. Another thing is look around you and what your local community does.
And this isn't just for K-12 schools. At your job or university or college, you can start implementing these ideas. I'm gonna let YouTuber and activist Taylor explain.
So when I was in college, I wanted to make my campus more sustainable. So I picked a project, getting the campus dining halls to compost food waste. I did some research, came up with a plan for how it could work, and requested a meeting with some of my school's administrators. Surprisingly, they were really willing to listen. It took a lot of meetings and time and joining an environmentalist club to find some other people to help me, but it's been years since I graduated, and there's still campus-wide composting at my school. And I did all of this as an English major. Those writing and research skills helped a lot. And I say all this because the world needs climate scientists for sure, but we also need journalists and artists and lawyers and politicians and activists to fix this problem. So no matter what you're interested in, there's room to study climate change as part of that, and there's room for you in this movement.
These are just a few anecdotal stories from people in my life. But they aren't alone. There are organizations across the country and the world working to make schools more sustainable. And it's more than likely there's one working in your community too. Like seriously, look at how many of these there are. If you're a teacher looking to bring sustainability into your classroom, a student hoping to start a green team or another initiative, a parent or a community member, I've left links down in the description below for how to get started, and perhaps more importantly, how to keep going. This video was sponsored by the Columbus Zoo and their Teen Eco Summit. If you want to learn more about that and a little bit about the talk that I gave while I was there, check out the links below too. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.